Hello TNA fam, and welcome back to the Impzone podcast. Here again to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. Today I want to talk about my own loyalty or / loyalty to the cause, so to speak. I think we've sort of touched on this before in the past, but I haven't really dived deep into it. And I think that I said this before. We're at a turning point right now. And not to say that I'll never watch TNA again or whatever, because obviously if they do a good job, obviously I'll keep watching. But the thing is, we have all fought long and hard to get to the point that we're at. The talent's fought, even the management has fought to get to where we're at. So I feel like surely we're not going to bungle it at this juncture. But sometimes I feel like you just don't know, and sometimes that's good in some ways because it keeps things from being too predictable. I don't like it when things are too predictable sometimes, because it is very much like, well, I would like things to feel like not too unpredictable, but like that you still feel like, oh, there's still that little bit of doubt, or there's still that little bit of, can Mike Santana, or can this person or that person or whatever really get it done, or whatever it is, and that sort of thing. Or does the company believe in them? Are they going to give them the chance, to show us, this is what this will look like. And it's not just saying, oh yes, we'll give you the chance, but we're not just saying we're going to give you the chance. We're going to give you a good chance, and we're going to give you good opposition and good stories and whatnot to work with when we, give you that. We're not just giving it to you and saying, oh, well, see you later, but you don't have very much to do or whatever. That's when things start to fall apart. People stop being like, oh man, what's Leon doing? Not really anything. He doesn't, or whoever. What are they really doing? Who are they really facing? Whatever it is. It's like, oh, okay. No one really major has a major story there or whatever. So it's like, oh, okay, that, or, they don't seem to have the high level of legitimacy or whatever else it is because they've just debuted and it's just been like, oh, cool, we're going to rush you to the title or whatever else it is. And that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, that's great in some ways, but it's like, again, sometimes taking your time is important to build up the legitimacy for people, and whatnot. But yeah, again, so my loyalty, it definitely in some ways isn't 1,000%, 100%, whatever you want to say. It's not ironclad. It's not just going to be here the whole time. I've been through the trenches for these last 6-7 years, whatever it's been, and a lot of people have been here even longer than that. But again, I do hope that they're not going to try to deny people of things in certain ways, because as I said, that's why I'm saying these sorts of things. It's like perhaps there is that worry for other people, or that sense for other people of saying, well, will I remain loyal to this brand or whatever? Why would I remain loyal to this brand if at some point you're not going to say, that's all right, we're going to cut the fans a break, we know what they want, we're going to deliver it to them, and we're not going to be the old TNA where it was like, never feels like, even though I've said many times that they did go in the other direction and they did pull the trigger and things like that, but sometimes not at the right time or whatever, seemingly, or not in the right way or whatever, and that sort of thing. So again, I still feel like there's something to saying, yes, I understand what story you're trying to tell or whatever else, but at certain points it's like, just do what the fans want. Just do what the fans want. Screw your story, and let's make this happen, or let's make something happen, because do you really need to put the belt on Nick Nemeth? I don't know. I don't really think that did a whole lot or whatever, so it is there, but it's all right. But it's like, again, was that 1,000% necessary or whatever? I don't know. But yeah, so I think a lot of there probably will be a few TNA fans that, you know, if things go awry, that they will stick around because they are very loyal. But will I? And I don't know. But then again, we don't know that they're not going to do the right thing, I suppose, or whatever. But we just hope for the best or whatever in regards to them doing the right thing when it's needed. And that's the thing. Like, this is what's needed right now. It's not just saying, oh, well, we could delay it, or we could wait, or we could do something else, or whatever else, or whatever. Or we could, have Nick Nemeth cash in, or we could have this happen, or we could have that happen. Yes, you could try to do some of those things to keep the ball rolling and keep things interesting and alive and whatnot. But like saying, hey, we're going to swerve people too much, or we're not going to deliver on things, is exactly the problem that everyone's perception, and that's the big problem, as I've said, has had with TNA. It's not whether you have actually pulled out the right things at the right time sometimes. That doesn't matter. People don't care if you've done the right thing sometimes or whatever, especially when that's not the majority of things or whatever, People care about what they can see here and now or whatever, And if, like I said, if you're not going to treat the fans to say, okay, all right, we'll give them what they want when they want it this time, or that time, or whatever it is, then it's like, well, why are we tuning in? This show should be for us, That's what the show is about. That's what you have a wrestling company for, to serve the fans at the end of the day, at the whatever, So again, in my opinion, this was what this all was building towards. Obviously, I'm talking about Santana and Kazarian, and I said before, this has to happen. There's no, like to me, will I watch Genesis if that doesn't happen? Maybe. Have I still got a subscription? Yes. So I might wait out my subscription or whatever else it is. But will I keep, boldly defending them or whatever else, or saying they deserve a chance or whatever else it is, and all of this stuff? I don't know. Or promoting it, I don't know. Because it is like, well, you've burned the bridge again with people, So, again, it's not just, if you were to say, oh, yeah, but we've got to try to get them to be better or whatever. Yeah, that's true, obviously. But they should have pulled the trigger, at a certain point. They should have given the fans what they want at a certain point. This is that certain point, as I've said, but that's where I'm at. I'm very much questioning, and obviously, again, that can go away very easily. And I think a lot of fans feel very much the same. They feel like, oh, I don't know whether they're going to pull the trigger or whether they're going to do the right thing. But at least I think they are. I said before in the other video, I felt like it might be a bit too predictable to feel like, oh, Santana's going to win. But in TNA, you never know type thing sometimes. I feel like you can have somebody so red hot that it's like, oh yeah, that's great, but it feels like, oh, well, why aren't we capitalizing on that? Why aren't, as fast as possible, or giving the fans the this is the direction, type thing, and then following through with that chase, so, and doing things in a way that it's like, well, this obviously, when it's on TV or when it's on another show or episode, it's not people might feel, oh, it's probably not going to happen or whatever, but they still could do things. Controversial finishes and things like that, I know some people don't like, but it keeps the story moving and it keeps somebody, in the picture. So it's sometimes worth doing. It's not like you need to do it all the time, maybe once a year at the most, because that's what I mean by saying people get sick and tired of seeing the same thing that you do all the time. You can't just keep doing those swerves or those controversial finishes or those things that people associate the company with, especially early on, in this run. We've got to play nice and give people what they want for a while, and then say, okay, cool, we've given you what you want for a while, but the thing is, we've got to move this belt. We've got to move this belt to other people, or we've got to, tell other stories or whatever else, tell somebody else's rise to the top or whatever else, or at least seemingly, hopefully, and that sort of thing. We can't just have, as I said, one person that is the person. You've got to have several people that, and especially new people, especially young people that can go, mid-30s at the most, or whatever, maybe late 40, early 40s at the most, because otherwise it becomes like this is the old codgers show, so that's why you've got to build new stars all the time. You've got to be saying, okay, Leon was, in the X division. Now he's in the next division. Maybe he'll break out into being the world champion or whatever. He's coming so close, closer and closer and closer each time, seemingly, or whatever, And that's again, if you've got him for long enough, I guess. But, that's the sort of thing that you've got to do. You've got to say, okay, well, how can we replace Leon? If he's going to WWE, how can we replace the Hardys if they're retiring, or whatever. Same with anything or anyone. That's why I say you can't rely on anyone or anything, but you always need to be building those people anyway, especially the younger people like Leon, to say, hey, we did as much with that person as what we could with the time that we had. We didn't just say, oh, well, they're leaving us soon, so we won't bother anymore. So again, the loyalty that fans sort of have to the company is dependent on them, providing enough things for those fans to, keep coming back. Why would we keep coming back if you keep saying, no, we're not going to deliver? It's all right if you say, oh, well, at certain points we can't deliver exactly what the fans want. The fans can understand that, or they can understand, hey, we're trying to tell this story, or we're trying to go in this direction, or whatever else it is, or we're trying to help this other person, or whatever else it is, Okay, cool, great. I think fans can get on board with that. But it's, right here, right now, what we're seeing right now is saying, hey, this is what we want, and give us what we want, because again, at a certain point, we don't care anymore. We won't keep tuning in. We won't keep buying the pay-per-views. We won't keep, it's been, it has been a team effort. I don't want to negate saying that all this was done by the TNA fans, but it has been a lot of the TNA fans pulling for TNA as well, that have gotten this company out of the hole that they were in. We have kept this thing alive, and if you're going to just say, oh, we're not going to give you what you want, well, why would we, as said, continue to invest? Why would we continue to defend you? Why would we continue to promote you? Why would we continue to watch when you're saying, hey, we're not going to deliver on the things that, the fans want? You can't do that all the time. I understand that. That's different. But at certain points, it's like, this is a tipping point, you know. Either you give the fans what they want at this point, and everyone's happy for a few months or whatever it is, and we can start going, okay, all right, we're going in this direction now, and then we'll go in that direction, or we'll start building up to go to this direction or that direction. That's what fans want in the end of the day. They don't want to be told that they can't have, you know, what they want on this show, because this is, you know, again, I have to say it a million times, but I have to drill this in and keep saying it, you know, because I don't know, maybe like those couple of people that are watching or listening, or hopefully somebody finds, you know, says, hey, wait a minute, there might be an uprising of fans, not like violently or whatever, but like just fans will just be like pelting the arena with garbage or whatever else it is and things like this, or, you know, leaving the arena and turning off their TVs and things like this. So they're again, like I said, they're giving you another chance, another opportunity. If you screw them over, well, are they ever going to give you another chance again? They've given you chance after chance after chance. And yes, perhaps that's older regimes or whatever else, but to them it's all the same thing. If you're doing the same thing as what older regimes have been doing and saying, no, we don't care what you want and whatever, we're just going to do what we want or whatever, then why would we care? You know, at a certain point you've got to serve us. That's our loyalty to you, that you will serve us, the fans, who want to see a certain thing, you know. And it doesn't matter if it's here or now, but obviously we're talking about the here and now, or in the past, or in the future. But, you know, at a certain point, we've got to say, hey, you know what? We've done everything we can for you. We've battled for you, and we've bled for you, and we've cried for you, and all of this sort of stuff. And we've gone to bat for you, and we've done everything for you, and, you know, we've been loyal to you. So giving us just a little bit of something, and especially the new fans tuning in, a little bit of something to say, okay, all right, we will be the best version of us. We will be the best version of what the fans want, so that we can keep this ball rolling. We need positive momentum, not more people tuning out and saying, oh, it's the same old TNA bullshit. You know, we need to convert people to going, TNA finally fucking did it. They finally fucking did the right thing. They finally landed the moonsault or whatever it was. They finally landed the jump and said, right, we're going to deliver, and we're going to deliver what the fans want. You know, so now there's reason for those people to keep tuning in and keep saying, okay, TNA is doing the right thing. You know, they're entertaining. They've got a lot of different things going on. As I say, it's not just about who you debut or whatever else it is or what you do. It's how you follow things up sometimes. If you say, oh, well, we didn't plan for this or whatever else, too bad. This is now what you have to do or whatever. You know, and hopefully, if they're smart, as they say that they are, that they should know, hey, this is where we should go. And I know I've repeated like the same thing like several times here, but it's very worth driving home that point and needing to understand this is the situation. And I do hope that they understand this situation, as I say, because again, this is do or die for you, in my opinion. You can either turn around and say, oh, you know, all right, we know that we have to know that if we do this or if we do that, the fans aren't going to like it. So we've got to give them something else. And like, you could tease things. You could tease like a DQ finish or a count out finish or whatever. Things like that. But then have like Santino come out and say, restart this match. This match is too important. You know, whatever. All this stuff. We will have a decisive winner tonight, you know, or even just coming out beforehand and saying that sort of thing, whatever it is, saying this main event is too important, so this match is now no disqualifications and no countouts, you know, or no countouts and no disqualifications or something or whatever. you know, so that way people are like, oh, Kaz can't just get counted out, he can't just get disqualified or whatever. So, you know, it's not guaranteeing a new champion or whatever, but it's almost. It's more or less just guaranteeing there's no real like super duper shenanigans. This is going to have a finish. It must have a finish. It must have a decisive winner. But yeah, I do want to know whether you guys feel the same as me, as like maybe you're on the cusp a little bit. Obviously, as I said, they might do the right thing, and I do hope that they do the right thing. But obviously, if you feel like, oh man, what if they do the wrong thing? You know, how loyal are you? Or how loyal am I? You know, up to a point, you know, like, certainly. Like, that's the thing. We're only loyal to a point, you know. We've done everything for you. We've given you the best that we can, you know, all the love and support, but now it's like, okay, do or die time. You finally got this TV deal. You can finally show more people what this show's all about. Don't fucking blow it and say, oh, whatever, YOLO, swerve, or whatever, or whatnot. You've got to say, no, we know what we've got to do, we've got to deliver, and maybe later on we've got some other story or whatever else it is for the fans to sink their teeth into, or something else. But, you know, that's later, not now. But yeah, guys, anyway, I think that's pretty much it here for this one. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you'll join me again in another one.